Welcome back, guys. So today we've got a new Super Nintendo case for the Raspberry Pi 3. So you may remember the Super Kuma case from Kintaro. Pretty awesome case. A lot of people dug this, but there's, a couple things people didn't really like. A lot of people loved it because of this big heatsink that it came with. It was pretty awesome. They recently clearanced these or did a special deal, and a bunch of us grabbed a few of these because it was really awesome. But some of the people, the criticisms were the colors weren't right, power and reset button doesn't work. But overall, it was a decent case. A lot of people liked it, especially for the money. Now, Kintaro has gone ahead and outdone themselves, and they are putting out a new version. And the new version, it's not just, recolored to look like the original Super Nintendo. It is, but it also has functioning power and reset buttons that work safely. It uses a script, very easy to install, and we'll talk about that in a moment. They have their little custom PCB board here. It has a little slot for your GPIO, and then a couple pins for, an added fan if you like to add a fan. And it does have a built-in LED light. Pretty awesome stuff. And here it does have the mounts for a fan, so that is pretty cool. And they did change the molding a little bit, some more details. The slots for the ventilation, they changed it up a little bit to accommodate if you want to put a fan in there. A few more details just to make it look a little nicer. Thought that was pretty cool. Overall, it looks the same other than the colors are different, and it feels a little nicer and looks a little nicer in my opinion. But you see on the original, there was not really a place to put a fan. You could always find a way to get one in there, but the case wasn't necessarily made for that. This one, you can have that option, so that is pretty cool. Inside the package that this comes with, it does have a nice instruction manual. Now I'm going to say this instruction manual is very well written. It goes over a lot of information, installing RetroPie, a bunch of different options, how to do everything, how to get this case set up. Pretty sweet stuff. And it does have that one little line that you have to type in to install the setup script for the power and reset. And they also have a little section for recall box. They have a custom image you can download that is pre-set up for this case. Pretty sweet stuff. And it does still come with the big heatsink, so that is an added bonus. You get a screwdriver and then a few little packets of screws. So you're going to get 2 packs that come with just 2 screws and then one that comes with 4. And we will talk about that in a moment. Now, to install this, it's pretty much going to be the same as the original case. Pretty simple. Some people said they had issues, but if you follow the directions that this one comes with, which is a lot more in-depth than the original and it's a lot more well-written, it makes a lot more sense. So if you're going to put this heatsink, you don't have to, but you can use the heatsink that it comes with. You might as well, but if there's other options you want to use, you can always go about it that way instead. But the one thing I forgot to mention, the box does come with a little thermal paste. I'm not going to use that at this moment because I need this Pi for a different project, but you could put a little dab on there, and the bottom of the heatsink does have the contacts that hit those spots. So you would line this bad boy up onto your Pi. Now, if you're going to use this heatsink, you're going to find the pack of 2 screws that comes with that are the longer screws. The other pack has 2 shorter screws, and you're only going to use those if you're not using this included heatsink. So all you're going to be doing is screwing in the posts that are closer to that fan mount. There's 2 more holes on the top by where the HDMI and power is, but those are going to be for the bottom when you screw the whole case together. So just keep that in mind. You're only putting in 2 screws to hold down the heatsink. The one thing I do want to point out with that heatsink is really pay attention when you're putting it in there and make sure it's not making contact with anything that it shouldn't. You don't want it to short out or have any issues. So just pay attention to that. You should be good as long as everything's mounted and the screws are in there. So now if you wanted to put a fan in, I'm not going to, but you could mount your fan in there and then plug it into those 2 posts that are on that PCB. Now, close the case up. That's pretty much it. Make sure those GPIO connections are being, not getting bent or anything. If you go in even, you're not going to have an issue. You'll feel that little bit of pressure, just squeeze it closed. Make sure you're not breaking nothing, but you're only going to do that if you're, going in at a weird angle. If you just go in straight on top, you'll be good. Next step is getting those 4 bottom screws and screwing in the case. So once that is done, you're pretty much set to get everything going. So there are 4 posts for the screws, and you do want to make sure that you're screwing them in pretty tightly. Don't over tighten it, but you want to make sure that everything is flush and even when you're screwing it in. So make sure you get it as tight as you can without overdoing it. So you want to make sure those GPIOs and the connections are on there nice and snug and nothing is coming loose. So that's the only way you're going to ensure the case works properly, obviously. But yeah, so far I'm from my testing, I'm really digging this case, especially with the functioning power and reset. A lot of cases have these power and reset buttons that don't do a thing other than, possibly corrupt your micro SD card. So here all your slots are, available, your power, your HDMI and whatnot. And like I said, make sure you got those screws tight so everything is flush. But yeah, all your ports are accessible. And that is pretty awesome. The next thing is going to be checking if our micro SD card fits in here easily and is easily removed. That's always the ultimate test to me. And with this case, not an issue whatsoever. You can easily get it in there and get it out. There's only one thing, there is a noticeable space, and I will show that here. If you're not paying attention when you're putting your micro SD card in, you could possibly go underneath the actual slot for the micro SD card, pop it in there, and it would be inside your case. Now you're gonna have to unscrew it to fish it out. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. Pretty simple stuff. So here, let's go ahead and plug in the HDMI and power and see if everything boots up properly. So once you boot this up, you are treated to Kintaro's little custom splash screen. I actually think it's kind of neat. You can always turn that off, use your own splash screen. But once you install that script, they do install this splash screen once your system boots up. I think it's kind of cool, but some people might get tired of it and not want their branding on there. But hey, it's there. So once you have everything plugged in, you see the LED light does come on once you have that power switch up. And as you see, the power switch is pushed up like an original Super Nintendo would. Pretty sweet stuff. Now, if you hit your reset button, it will safely reset. And as you see, the LED turned off, and you just give it a moment and it will come back on once it's fully reset, knowing that it works. So there you go, LED lights back on. Now if we power off, push the switch down, the LED goes off and your system has been safely powered off. So I think this is pretty cool. My only real criticism, I guess, would be, your USBs are on the side. But if you're using Bluetooth controls, I guess it's not really going to matter. Some people don't care, some people do, because there's been a lot of cases where they've used the boards, the custom boards that they've put in there to move the USBs to the front to mimic a real system. And I think it's okay that they're on the side. I would have preferred to have them on the front, but then the case would have been needed to be bigger. Some people want to keep these cases small and, keep that same form factor that the Pi is in. When you have those other boards in there with multiple USBs being plugged in and changed around, sometimes you come across these power issues. So that is something to note with this, is that you're not getting all that. I've had no issue testing this system out, testing this case out, no voltage issues, nothing with the heat sink messing anything up. The heat sink, if you have it on there and the system's running, it does get kind of hot. The one thing with that script that you install is if you do use a fan, it does have special settings that will turn the fan on once it hits 60 Celsius and then turn it off once it's below. So it's kind of nice that they added some extra little features. I'm definitely going to put this case through its paces. I'm not 100% when this is going to be available on Amazon or wherever else. Kintaro hit me up and said, hey, do you want to check this out, test it out, put it through its paces, see what you can do with it? And I was like, sure, I'd love to check this case out. I like the original one Didn't love the original one, be honest. I thought it was okay. I'm really digging cases that have power and reset buttons, and this one does, and it's done correctly, and it's done in a way that is, reminiscent of an original Super Nintendo system, so a lot of people are going to dig that. So as soon as I know this is up for sale, link will be in the description and in the comments. I will have like a temporary link to Kintaro's products. In the meantime, as soon as I get information on when this is going to be available, I will share it with you guys. Right now, 2 thumbs up. I really dig this case. It's something that I would have bought if I would have known it was available. I typically buy cases all the time. Not too many times am I offered a case to check it out. Typically, I always buy them and check it out. But just wanted to be upfront with you guys. This one was provided to me. And, hey, my unbiased opinion, I dig it. I would have spent the money, depending on how much it costs. If this is, a $25 case, I think I could be cool with that. If it's above that, I'd have to think a little bit before I pull that trigger. Just being honest. If it was $30, I would have to really think. If it was more than that, it would definitely be a no for me. But hey, let's hope for the best. Hopefully it's $25 or less. To me, that's a fair price to pay. Once you're hitting almost the same price as the Pi 3 itself, to me, it's not worth it. I don't care what the case does. But hey, taste is subjective as far as cases go, and that's just my opinion. So I appreciate you guys stopping in. Smash that like button, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. And with that said, guys, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out. Bye-bye. Boom.